As we begin working on Project 3, the major proposal, I wanted to talk with you for a few minutes about how to choose a topic for your proposal. It'll make it much easier for you to write the proposal if you've chosen something that you're interested in, that's related to the job that you chose in Project 1, and that you find interesting, because really it's a large project, and if you're something that you have chosen that you are interested in, and are intrigued about, want to develop, it'll make it much easier for you to write the project. So, Project 3, the major proposal. In order to develop the topic for the proposal, it's important to understand why we write proposals in the first place. And there are several reasons why we would write a proposal. The first, perhaps the most obvious reason, is to get new business. And proposals that are aimed at developing new business are called generally bid proposals. These are proposals where you propose to do a certain amount of work or provide a certain service for a certain amount of money. Contractors use these, interior designers are going to use these. Anybody who freelances, who does their own contracting, will often be involved in writing bid proposals. Another reason for writing a proposal is to innovate. And this is something that you would do if you were writing a proposal internally to a company, something that you want to implement, which is why we call it an implementation proposal. This is a very common kind of proposal. It's generally internal to a company or organization, and it begins with an idea about how things might be improved or how something might work better within the company or organization. And this is the kind of proposal that most people are going to write for Project 3, from the context of improving something in your own workplace for the job that you proposed, that you got in Project 1. The third reason to write a proposal is to discover something, and this is what we would call a research proposal. If you're in the sciences, if you're looking for funding or a grant in order to perform certain research, then a research proposal is what you would write. Now again, if your major is applied science or something related, you may want to take up a research proposal, but most people for this class are going to write an implementation proposal. If you're in construction or a related field, a bid proposal would make the most sense for you. So, now that you know an idea of the kinds of proposals that you can write, how do we write proposals? Well, proposals start with something very basic. Proposals start with a problem, something that needs to be fixed, an inefficiency, something costs too much, a process takes too long, customers are not happy with a certain aspect of the company or organization. So, most often, proposals are designed to address a particular problem. But you can think about them positively as well. A proposal is a way for you to push the company or organization to address a new opportunity. Maybe there's a market that isn't being served fully. Maybe there is a way that you can partner with another company to accomplish something that your company couldn't alone. So think about proposals as addressing either problems or opportunities. It doesn't always have to be trying to solve something negative. So what does a proposal do? A proposal posits a solution to the problem that you have identified, or, as I've mentioned, a way to exploit a new opportunity. So that's really what a proposal's purpose is to fix a problem or exploit some new opportunity that you have noticed that you want to bring the attention of your company or organization to. So, as you can probably tell by the way I've introduced this, effective definition of the problem or opportunity is the most critical factor for determining whether your proposal is going to be successful. So you need to get the statement of the problem or opportunity down. That needs to be solid. So that brings up the question, of course, what makes a good problem or opportunity? Well, there are some characteristics of good problem or opportunities statements that I want to share with you. So a good problem or opportunity is well defined and limited in scope. It's not vague, it's not general. It's something that is really targeted and also is really limited in terms of its scope, in terms of you're not trying to solve everything all at once. You're going to pick a part of a problem, pick a focused problem, something that you can really solve in the space of a single proposal. A good problem or opportunity further will make a difference when it's addressed. There's no need to solve a problem that isn't really causing too much of a problem for the company. If they're not losing a lot of money or there isn't a great opportunity to be enjoyed, then it won't make a difference when it's been addressed. And so that does not make a good problem or opportunity. A good problem or opportunity is within the core organization focus. It is a way for the company or organization to deliver more effectively on its established mission and goals. You may be proposing that the mission or goals expand, that the market grows, that new lines of business be undertaken, but you have to remember that a proposal needs to fall within what the organization has already established as its core focus. Finally, a good problem or opportunity has a measurable solution. This is not just about making customers happier, for example. It is about raising customer satisfaction in measurable surveys, for example, something like that. So it is a measurable solution to the problem or opportunity. So let me give you an example of how to develop a problem or opportunity. When I worked in software in Silicon Valley for 8 years, one of the things we always had problems with was hiring. Many times by the time we'd get a job offer out to a candidate, they would have already been hired by somebody else. So a problem we ran into a lot was our hiring process is too slow. Well, as a statement of problem or opportunity, that is a big fail. It's not specific enough. It doesn't give any kind of sense of how we can go about solving the problem. So we'd need to develop that statement more fully. And this is what a fully developed statement looks like. And I'll go through this piece by piece. We are losing qualified candidates, not just job applicants. We're losing qualified candidates. How are we losing them? We're losing them to other employers. This is much more specific than simply saying we are not hiring the people that we want. Why are we losing them? Because the hiring approval process takes too long. This is much more targeted at why we're losing these applicants. Further, by the time all relevant managers have signed off, right, now this is telling us what part of the process is slowing us down and what the result is. The candidate often has another offer. So in all of these ways, this is a much more specific statement about the problem or opportunity. And does it satisfy the conditions that we set out? It does. It is well defined and limited in scope. Its solution will make a difference because we will hire people we wouldn't otherwise be able to hire. It is within the core business organizational focus because if we can't hire the people to do the jobs we need done, we're not getting the job done. And the solution is measurable. Will we hire people more effectively and efficiently? We will be able to measure that. So this new problem statement is a win in terms of the way we've defined problem or opportunity statements. Okay, so how do we solve this problem? Because that's what a proposal needs to do, is posit a solution to the problem. Well, the way that you come up with solutions to things, as I'm sure you know by now, is through, yes, brainstorming. And that's what you'll need to do to develop the solution to the problem that you come up with. So let's brainstorm a little on this problem. We could fix the problem by mandating quicker turnaround of approval requests. Simply by policy, say things need to be signed off more quickly. We could reduce the number of managers who must sign off on new hires. That would also streamline the process. We could make a larger sort of structural change, allowing decisions on hiring to be made by local managers rather than corporate headquarters. And we might take a technology solution to this, automate the workflow of hiring approval so that managers can sign off more quickly. So we've got 4 good options here. Well, now what do? We need to figure out which of these options makes the most sense. All right? How have other companies solved this problem? Well, that's something that we have to develop an understanding of by looking at some research. That's what we need to do to solve this problem. We need to figure out how other companies have solved it so that we can understand the best way for us to solve it. So how do we do that? We're going to look at trade publications. In this case, human resource trade publications. There are magazines published all the time that focus on this particular industry. And they will contain articles and case studies and stories about companies that have addressed this issue. You can also do scholarly research, journals of human resource management that would give you some ideas about how to solve this problem. You can also look at, if we're looking at the technology solution, look at HR workflow automation vendors. They have white papers and case studies available on their websites. All right? So once you've done the research, it's time to make the decision. All right? How are you going to do that? You're going to weigh the research. You're going to decide on an option. You're going to investigate the specifics of the solution that you've chosen, and then you're going to determine the cost, benefit, resource requirements, implementation workload, all the factors involved in whether this is a good solution or not. And remember, the solution needs to be what is proposed. How will we know when we've solved the problem? We're going to establish the current pain that the company is experiencing. How is that established? How many candidates have been lost? How much was spent to recruit those candidates? How much was lost in productivity due to the delay in hiring the right people? And finally, what is the cost of hiring the second choice? All of these things can go into how we measure what the size of the problem is, the current pain. Once you've done all this, you're ready to write the proposal to fix the problem.